Hello, guys. What is happening? So, this is our 2025 year in review Q&A. I asked you guys to write in some questions, and I would try and answer them as best I can. Personal questions, questions about the gym, personal questions about 2025 in general. Okay, so this is the 1st of January 2026. We're just going to briefly cover 2025 and also questions about 2026, some of the stuff that you guys have had. I will start in with one of the first ones. What were your personal goals in 2025? And one of them was to buy a house. So we've been living where we've been living for the last 15 years, and we've massively outgrew that. Um, as our family have grown. So there's me, Claire, and there's obviously got the three kids living in a three-bedroom house. It's been great. It's actually done us really, really good up until this point. But um, over the last 3 years, everything that we have done has been solely focused towards the gym, growing BSC and just trying to put as much money back into that as possible. Just so we can continue to have the standards and the equipment and the level of comfort that we have within the gym. But this year, it was a goal for me to um, do something for us, do something more for Claire more than me. We had a bit of a side quest this year, and it was to buy a house. So we did actually buy a house. We are actually moving into a house in June next year, so it's a new build house. So for me, that was one of the goals. It was something I was putting off for ages. Um, and I actually sat down in the middle of the year and sort of made that goal. But it's been a goal for years for me, to try and sort of get a bigger house for us all to live in. But the fact of the matter is, we've literally lived here for the last 3 years, um, and our house has been like what's the best way to say it? Our house has been like a base camp nearly, where you're going to for a few hours a day and sleeping there, and then everything else has just been here. So this year the goal was to buy a house, and ultimately we've achieved that goal. So yeah, moving into our house in June 2026, and we actually can't wait for that. So that was a personal goal for me this year. In terms of like gym goals or fitness goals, I didn't really have any. I think like the older you get, the more. That's not true. I did have fitness goals. I'll go on to that in a wee second. But I think like the older you get, the more you just want to be fit and healthy. You want to look good. You want to feel good, and you want to be able to perform amongst your peers. And evidently, that's what we do at BSC. That's what we do day and daily. And it's very important that I can try and do that, and not only lead by example for everybody else, but also be able to keep up with everybody else. Because when we first opened the gym, um, we had a lot of people who were new to the gym. A lot of you guys, um, who had been training before but were very new to the stuff that we were doing here. And as we have coached you through the years, and as you've consistently shown up and um, improved through the years, it's got to the point where a lot of you guys are better than us at a lot of things. And that's kind of the way your coaching journey should be. You should be trying to push people on past where you are, not just to the point of where you're at. And so ultimately for me, it's important that I can keep up with you guys. And that's more or less a lot of my fitness goals throughout the year. Obviously, you want to feel great on holiday. You want to keep your in body scan right. You know, you have roughly the numbers that you want to be sitting at for the most part, give or take a kilo or two. So for me, it was about just trying to maintain that throughout this year, and I definitely achieved that, which I'm proud. Fitness goals. I had a goal for a sub 60 high rocks. Me and John McGill did high rocks in Glasgow in March, and we did like an hour and 36 seconds. So the goal then ultimately was the sub 60 high rocks. It's like the golden goal. For most people, it just seems to be like the number. If you're in there around that time, um, you kind of that sub 60 high rocks is just like the number. So we actually achieved that in November. We achieved that down in Dublin, so that was a great one. Things that I didn't plan on doing, the Athex Games with Kieran. It wasn't like a goal of mine at the start of the year. I'd seen the event and thought that looks pretty cool. When we entered it, we didn't enter it thinking that we were going to, not that we weren't going to do well, but I just thought we would be like thereabouts, and we ended up winning it and qualifying for the finals. So again, that was another thing. The finals. Didn't think that we were going to actually um, win the finals. I knew we would do okay looking at the leaderboards and everything else of the qualifying times and the workout that people had done before, because it was the exact same workout, so you kind of gauge whereabouts you would be. But again, went over to it, didn't expect to win it. Um, until about a week before, when I really sort of dialed in, I was like, no, listen, if I'm going over to Birmingham here, okay, we're going over to win this. And ultimately, we did win it. So that was an unexpected goal that was achieved. But it just showed me that even at the tender age of 39, coming 40 in February, and I think Kieran's 41, um, that we still have something to give, because the guys that we were competing with, if you had just looked around them from a physical point of view, you'd have thought, no, there's no way we're even coming close to these guys. But the things that we are very good at, the things that we train really, really hard at, our endurance stuff, and our workouts, we excelled in. And that's evidently what won us the event. So that was another thing that achieved this year that wasn't part of our personal goals, but uh, it was a class closer of the year. Um, any immediate plans for BSC beginning of 2026? So no plan B. We have no plan B starting on the 12th of January. Really excited about that one. This will be different than any no plan B we've done before. This one is going to be the teams. So there's going to be 4 coaches, Jenny Fox, myself, and CB, and we're all going to have a team each. There will be points allocated per person in each team. Teams will be picked randomly. Say, for example, there's 80 people. We're going to have 20 people in each team, and you will get points for your class adherence. So, for example, if you have 8 classes a month on your membership, you must train um, 2+ times a week. Okay, so your 8 classes get you 2 sessions a week, but Saturday team is free, so that can potentially get you 3 times a week. If you can't make Saturday team, you can maybe even go for a run, but you will get 1 point if you adhere to all of your sessions. Same way, if you have a 12 class pass, 12 class membership, you are evidently training 3 times a week with a 12 class membership. Plus, you have a Saturday free. So we want you to train 3+ times a week to be able to hit your point there. And then unlimited will be the same, but it'll be just slightly more. So it'll be 4+ times per week. A lot of you guys are hitting that already anyway, so it shouldn't be an issue. But that's the way it'll work. So we'll get points. We'll get points for nutrition adherence as well. Again, that'll probably come down to you being honest. Are you doing what you said you would do? There will be certain guidelines for your nutrition. If you've hit your nutrition that day, you get a point. If you haven't hit your nutrition that day, you don't get a point. So it's a team effort. Everybody in the team needs to do the work. So somebody in the team can't pull somebody else along. Okay, so it is an individual effort, even though we're working as a team. But you're not just doing it for yourself, you're actually doing it for the team. Also, there will be additional tasks. Okay, so we will have 1 task a week. It's going to run for 4 weeks. We will have 1 task a week, which will get you points for your team. And this is the bit that is a wee bit different. I'm going to put all this information out probably tomorrow anyway, but this is where it gets a bit different. There is a £10 buy-in per person. So each person participating will pay £10, and the winning team gets all the money. So say, for example, there's 80 people doing it. That's £800. The winning team will split £800 between the 20 people. So quick math there, you're going to get 40 quid. Okay, so if you put in a tenner, you'll get 40 quid each out at the end if your team win. And to close it all off, there will be one final test on the very last day, which will be Sunday, the 9th of February. And once we complete that, we will weigh up the scores, and then we'll dish out the money. So that's the way it's going to work. It's going to be £10 cash. Okay, so everybody pays £10 cash each, and then it goes into an envelope, and then the winning team gets the envelope. So that makes it a wee bit different. Makes it a wee bit more interesting, a wee bit more exciting as well. Obviously, we've got Blackout as well at the end of January. We had Blackout Sim yesterday, which was class. It was just a wee taster. It was more of a taster for something for us to give to you guys towards the end of the year, but also to see how it runs and see what we will do differently on the day, or things that we can change to make the event run much smoother. But seeing the way everybody hit that yesterday, and the atmosphere and everything else, it just excites us so much more, because we're going into a bigger, cooler venue. There is a guy doing sound and light. There's DJs. There's vendors. It's going to be sick. There's four people doing media and content that day, which is going to be unbelievable. So it's all going to be captured. You guys are all helping out as well, with the judging and all the different various parts within the event. So it's just going to be a special day for BSC and a proud day for BSC, um, because it's just going to show how much of a united club that we are. Coming together, celebrating the day, and fully saying it on the erg. So I'm really, really excited about that. I feel to have created a community of positive people striving to be their best. If you take a step back and consider the years you've given people, um, this feels class. This feels class every single day. Um, Ultimately, you guys do the work, and you are very aware of that. You guys are the ones that have to show up. You guys are the ones that have to put the graft in. You guys are the ones that go home, focus on your nutrition. You guys are going home and thinking about things within the gym to improve your performance, make yourself better. You're doing extra stuff. You're doing running. You're going to the gym and doing extra sessions. Um, you guys are ultimately doing the work, but we have created something, built a facility to ultimately facilitate all of that. And it's not just about the building itself and the aesthetics of the building and how the building looks. It's about the feeling that you have when you come in to BSE, the feeling that you have from the rest of the entire community, the feeling that you have when you come into a class and you're greeted by everybody. And that's ultimately what we wanted to try and achieve from the start. Fitness is class. We love fitness. It's our thing. Health and fitness, uh, strength training, fitness, all that good stuff. Competition. This is all stuff that we love. Um, but ultimately, you guys are the thing for us that makes it all worthwhile. Like I've mentioned this numerous times throughout the year, but I know when I'm saying goodbye to you guys and you are walking out the door and I say see you tomorrow or I'll see you in a couple of days, like for me that fills my cup. Like you guys are a full extension of my family. Um, I know that might sound a bit strange, but that's ultimately what BSE is for me. It is a big family, and if you really lean into it, you'll get so much from it. Um, the relationships that I've built, from um, the second we opened in here, um, are relationships that I wouldn't have been able to build otherwise, and relationships that add so much value to my life, CB's life, even Jenny and Foxy. Like we wouldn't have met those guys, and those guys are absolute gold. Those guys are, um, so very, very close to us, and we care about them so much. So ultimately, having this space and building this space has made our lives a million times better. Not only do we get to live this life every single day, like this is our work. Like you guys will go to your work and come in here for, a third space away from home and work. For us, like we get all of that goodness every single day. Every time we run a class, there's different people in every class, and you're just seeing all of your fucking favorite people all of the time. And for us, it's an incredible feeling, and I never want to take it for granted. And I understand that sometimes I probably do, like we all do when things are so good. But um, ultimately, Claire and I spend a lot of time trying to be grounded and just sort of really understanding that these are the days. Like we are living in the best days of our lives, and it's an absolute pleasure to be able to share it with each and every single one of you. Each and every single one of you brings something completely different to the table, and enhances and adds value to our lives. And for that, we love you. Um, what does the plans for 2026 look like in terms of training blocks? CB is absolutely incredible at programming. CB has programmed us from one step to the next step to the next step to the next step. CB spends nearly all of her time programming, and that sounds mad, but she is constantly working on how we improve from one day to the next. And we have Like CB programs a different session every single day, sometimes multiple sessions, 2 and 3 sessions every single day, and has done for the last 3 years. Like there's 35 sessions in here a week. Like you think about the amount of work that would be to be as creative as possible and still manage progression. Like it's insane. Like CB is incredibly talented when it comes to our programming, and the programming is absolutely insane. It's sick if you just look around you. We've had people in the gym recently who have not been here for a while and have come back in and have says everybody in here is looking incredible and performing really really well. And it's just that consistency and that quality programming. Um, so anyway, in terms of our plans for 2026 and training blocks, CB will release something very, very shortly in terms of what we're going to do. But ultimately, our training programs are always built towards the events that we're heading towards. Um, Even if you're not doing any of those events, you will massively benefit along the way. And there's stages along the way that we never experience burnout. Okay, so it's always designed where we get up to a certain point and then we have a layoff period and we go up to another certain point, layoff period, certain point, layoff period. And it always works like that. That's always the way you grow. Um, but yeah, CB will release something very, very shortly, probably in the coming days, with regards to the plan for 2026 in terms of our training blocks, our strength blocks, when, excuse me, when we plan on peaking, and when we will have our more quieter strength block period where we will focus on building strength before we go into our next season. So ultimately, CB is in charge of that, and she will release something in the coming days. Any plans to move to a bigger and larger facility? Every other week, but CB keeps me extremely grounded, which I value massively. And if she hadn't have kept me extremely grounded, I probably would have run BSC into the ground, because one of the most important things about BSC is things need to happen organically and they need to happen at their own pace. I am one of those people who has a new idea every 5 minutes. And I actually heard something last week. Jeff Bezos was talking about something. And yes, I am comparing myself to Jeff Bezos. Okay. Entrepreneurs are all the same. But his CEO was telling him that if he keeps implementing all of the ideas that he has, he's going to run Amazon into the ground. This was years ago, we told him this. And it was so true, because if I implemented every single idea that I have here, this business would be on its knees. Because yes, ideas might be good, but there's a time and a place for ideas. One of the most important things is when you have ideas, it's important to write the ideas down. You maybe never use those ideas. You might go back to those ideas in future. Those ideas in future might look slightly different as well. But ultimately, CB has kept me with my feet on the ground. And one of the most important things for me this year, it actually came from like, have you ever seen like those posts or those pages on Instagram, and it was like your Oracle reading for 2026, and it gives you all the months and it tells you your birth month or whatever, and it tells you a wee bit about it. But mine said something along the lines of um, stop focusing on future plans and act in the present, and that's where the magic will happen. Something along those lines. So for me, um, my focus this year is going to be more on where we are now and having a heavy focus on enriching that, as opposed to always thinking about what's next, what's next, what's next. Of course, like a larger facility would be better. Of course, a larger facility would let us do more stuff. But there's something about the coziness of BSC and the tightness of our community and the tightness of those classes that keep us together. I've trained in larger facilities, and it's brilliant. You've loads more space. You can have your rowers and your ergs and all set out in a certain place, and they never move, and that's just where they are. And then you can still loads of room to do everything else. But those places haven't felt like BSC, and I don't know how we would progress and move forward into a larger space and still manage to keep the things, the culture and the community and the tightness that we have. But I like what we have here. Like I really like what we have here, and I think we live in a world where it's like bigger is better, more is more. But ultimately, It's not always the case. I feel better is better, and um, for the rest of this year anyway, I won't be thinking about moving to a larger facility. But up until this point, it's literally been every other 5 minutes. Um, but no, I won't be thinking about moving to a larger facility just yet. We have now a few years in here, at least I believe. And when the time is right and the right facility shows itself and reveals itself, then that's what will happen. But trying to push these things and force these things, um, ultimately it ends in more heartache than anything else. So yeah, I'm going to listen to CB this year, and I'm not going to think about moving to a different facility. I'm actually going to try and have more of a focus on uh, being present and focusing and trying to enrich the things that we have. Best piece of advice that has been given to me this year. Um, I'll be honest with you, there's not like a quote or a single piece of advice that I can recall. But what I will say is this: I'm surrounded by absolute goats, greatest of all times, not actual goats, surrounded by absolute ballers in each and every one of you. And no doubt this year, through every conversation that we have had, I have taken a solid piece of advice and been able to apply it to my life and our business and even my relationships, my family, just through good quality conversations that we've all had throughout the year. Um, there's not one single piece of advice that stands out, but ultimately every single conversation that each of you have had with me has been truly meaningful. And I know, like, we have conversations in the gym, and sometimes they may seem like fast conversations and, you know, just general chit chat. But I would generally go away and think about a lot of that stuff. PK is a perfect one. PK, for anybody who hasn't met PK, PK trains in 7 a.m. classes. May train 12 lunchtime on High Rocks. So if you're never really in those classes, you might never meet PK, but he is an absolute gold mine of stoicness. Lots of insight always comes from PK. But he says things to me, and it could be like one wee sentence, and then like that'll be the end of the conversation. And I'll go away and think about it, and then I'll have to voice note back later on. But this has happened multiple times this year. Um, he's very, very good at that. And I don't know whether he does it on purpose, whether he knows he's just planting a wee seed in your head or not. But I feel like we always have the answers. So the answers is that we always have the answer to our problems. It's always within us. And having good conversations with people will help you see that. And the right people will ask you the right questions so that you come to that realization of the answer that you're looking for yourself. Ultimately, when we ask people questions about something, it's not that we don't know the answer. It's just that we want confirmation on that answer, and you want maybe an outside person's advice to maybe back up or question your thought process on the answer. But ultimately, we always know the answer. The answer is always within us, and any piece of advice that I've been given from any of you guys this year, um, a lot of it has just confirmed my thoughts about things that we're doing within the gym, things that the way the community's going. Different pieces of advice with business. With so many business people in the gym here, it's fantastic, and I've leaned on every single one of these this year, and it's been incredible. With every year that BSC is growing, we're just getting a little bit better at business as we move through, but it wouldn't be without the advice that you guys have been giving us throughout the year. And ultimately, hopefully, we can give good, solid advice back. You know, we do have lots of conversations with lots of lots of users. We have good conversations with a lot of you, and hopefully, we can give some good advice in return as well as you giving advice to us. And you know what I will say? A lot of it is life advice. There's very few conversations I have in here where people are asking me gym advice, or even uh, like health and fitness related advice, because we all kind of know what the crack is with our health and fitness. It's just chipping away, keep showing up, doing the work, following the program, pushing yourself, adding intensity. Um, but a lot of the real quality conversations in here that we have are related to life, family, relationships, business, all that good stuff. And ultimately, hopefully we can return that good advice the same way that we get that advice from you. Events slash competitions in 2026. So we have another busy year. This 2025, by the way, was our busiest year for competitions and events yet. Like we in-house events, no plan Bs, all that stuff. We had our trip to Portugal. Like we just had so much stuff this year, and it was absolutely incredible. It's hard to believe that it was squeezed all into a year. 2026 will be no different. Okay, so we're starting with no plan B. Some of the guys have High Rocks Manchester, I think, on the 20th of January. We have the Mecca High Rock Sim on the 10th of January. What else have we got? High Rocks Glasgow. We have the Hybrid Games in around the same time in March. We have Athex. A lot of the guys are going to do Athex in Dublin. That's in May. We have High Rocks Malaga, which is just 2 weeks after Glasgow, I believe. We have High Rocks London, which is in March also. I think London Olympia is in March as well. So there's so much going on even in those first 3 months of the year. We will continue to do what we do. Our in-house events, our in-house competitions. We have Blackout at the end of January, which fucking cannot wait for that. If we enjoy it, we will run another one in the summer. Ultimately, I think we will. But again, we'll probably have another one of those later on in the year. We will look into a retreat. We'll look into another fitness retreat towards that September time. That was class. The one we went on last year was absolutely incredible. I don't think we'll go to the same one. So it's like going on holiday. You may as well go somewhere else. So I'm looking into a few options for that. We'll see what way that pans out. We've had a few offers on to go to a few different places, so that would be pretty cool. And then we'll just carry on with our season. So we're going to have High Rocks Dublin towards the end of the year again. And plenty of High Rocks in between. So there's loads of events. You've got your High Rocks events. We've got Athex. We'll have our own Blackout events. We'll have our own Sims. Hopefully we get over to another Metrics event because that was class 2. Loads of events and competitions in 2026. What I've noticed and what I've realised over the last sort of 2-3 years is competitions are so healthy in terms of your training and like pushing you on and progression. And it's not this thing where you're constantly looking at everybody else's numbers to see what they're doing. BSE isn't built like that. We're not built like that. Yes, we want to encourage each other, and yes, we want to be competitive. But you know what? Everybody in here is just sizing themselves up against themselves, and that is the most important thing. If you can push yourself on, if you can push yourself on with the encouragement of your teammates, which is every single person in here, you're going to see incredible results. And looking at what everybody's achieved in the past year just gives me so much more excitement for the next year. We've got the marathon as well, actually. Some of the guys in the gym are doing the marathon in May. There'll be the Crack 10K, which is in March time. St. Patrick's Day, it's a good 10K race in Belfast. A lot of this stuff doesn't have to be mega competitive as well. You can just go and enjoy it. You know, you can do that 10K race and enjoy yourself. It doesn't have to be something that's mega. You'll have the half marathon later on in the year as well. So there's loads of stuff, loads and loads and loads happening this year. Not to mention the incredible training that you're going to get every single week. BSC is a busy happening place, and our whole message this year was that our manifesto going into 26 is that we are active. What I mean by that is we are active in all aspects of life. We are active in growing our families. We're active in growing our careers. We're active in growing our businesses. We're active in growing our fitness. We're active in being competitive, not just in this country but across the water. And coming from such a small community of people, we are punching. Like we are absolutely, what is the word? Beginning with D. Don't know. This happened yesterday. I had to ask CB for the answer. Destruction, demolition. Oh, what's the word? I will refer to the trusty team talk from yesterday. of which I wrote and I still can't remember. Dominating. Total domination. We are dominating. We are absolutely dominating. And BSC, what a fucking place. What an absolute place. The amount of messages we get from you guys about how special this place is. Like, I agree. Like, this was the plan, but also I can't believe it's worked. Like, the amount of fucking amazing, fucking crazy, amazing people in here. Mental people, but amazing people. Like, the vibration and the energy from within our community. See, when I say it's second to none, I mean, like, it cannot be fucking matched. Best in the world. I'm saying it. Best in the world. Last question. Is more always more? Solid question. Um, More is not always more. I touched on this earlier on, but better is always better. So, um, doing more will not make you better. In terms of training, we'll talk about training first. In terms of training, training 5 times a day, every day, will not make you a better person or a better athlete. You need to train smart. You need to take rest days. You need to listen to your body. Um, Burning the candle at both ends. It's not gonna end well. So more is not always more. You need to be smart. Better is always better. If you think about quality, so if you're in here for an hour on a Monday and you add the right intensity, the right quality of training session, you follow the program and you hit it the way it's supposed to be hit, that's enough for you that day. Say you come in the next day, same thing, hit that session the way it's supposed to be hit, that is enough for you that day. Okay, so the quality of your training is way more important than the volume of training that you do. If you do 3 sessions that day and each one of them is just okay, and the three amount to the same as you get within an hour, so you spend maybe 3 hours training when you could equally get the same out of 1 hour, then um, you know, time is super important. So if you are spending 3 hours doing something that should only really take 1 hour, um, the quality of your time is much much better, much greater. So better is always better. Think about quality. Always think about quality. Same when it comes to nutrition. It's exactly the same. Quality nutrition will be better than starving yourself. If you can think about just eating good, whole, healthy food, it's probably going to be harder, not impossible, but it's going to be harder for you to overeat if you're eating good, cold, quality food. If you're trying to make it fit within certain macros and calories, you're just on a world of pain. If you're just trying to make it all fit in there, if you're like, no, I can make this chocolate bar fit in to my calories and I'll still be in a calorie deficit, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's a road to nowhere. Like, I feel when it comes to nutrition, depending on what your goal is, you just have to make sacrifices. Like, whoever got anything that's worthwhile without making any sacrifices? Like, sacrifice a bar of chocolate. You shouldn't have a bar of chocolate every day. Why should you have a bar of chocolate every day? Like, a chocolate's a load of shite. It's a nice treat, but that's it. Why should you be treating yourself every single day? You can make good, whole, healthy, nutritious food that tastes amazing, but you shouldn't have to follow it up with a treat of a chocolate bar every day. I'm not saying any of you guys do this. I'm just sort of ranting a little bit. When it comes to dialing in with nutrition, when it comes to dialing in with your training, quality will always win. Quality and consistency. If you're consistent with your training and consistent with your nutrition, um, even if it's not bang on point, even if you eat slightly more or slightly less than you should, if you're consistent with it, you will see the biggest results. If you're consistent with your training, you will see the biggest results. You'll see the people this year who have achieved the biggest results have been consistent with their training, just constantly showing up. And it's not about training a million times a week. It's about the quality of the sessions that you're actually putting in. For example, if you hit if you hit Hyrox on a Tuesday, right, it's probably not something that needs to be done twice. Now, if you're free and available and you have the time and you want to come and train again, you can hit it twice. Like, there's nothing wrong with doing that. What I'm saying is, it doesn't need to be that way. Like, you don't need to look at your training as in, if I want to get better, I have to do twice as much as what I have been doing. Maybe it comes down to how you're hitting your sessions and are you applying the right intensity at the right times to your sessions. As coaches, that's what we're here for. We're here to help you, and we're here to guide you, and we're here to push you on, especially when it comes to weight training, because sometimes we can just sort of bluff away with it and just like go through the motions. But like ultimately, why are we here? You know, we're here as a community. We're here for each other. We're here to enjoy each other's company, but we're also here to train, and we're also here to get better. We're also here to improve. We want to be stronger. We want to be more resilient. We want to be the best versions of ourselves. And how do we do that? We apply the right intensity to the right sessions, and we can still have a good time with our community members at the same time. So ultimately, that's what the crack is. Is more always more? No, better is always better. Um, I'm going to leave it there, guys. I'm going to leave it there. There was another question I didn't write down. It wasn't really a question. It's basically somebody had wrote in and said, can't wait for the new year to start. Um, Fresh start. Can't wait to get stuck into training. Here's what I will say, guys. See whatever the trigger is for you that gets you going. Whether it's new year, new me, whether it's this year's going to be my year, whether it's whatever. Whatever trigger, whatever phrase that really gets you going and gets you out of bed and gets you getting that stuff done, I do not care. I want that to be the case. So whatever you need to use, I'm okay with. That will get the ball rolling. Consistency will keep it rolling. And once the ball's rolling, once you're consistent with your training, you will evidently get to a point where you start to pick goals, performance based goals that you want to achieve along the way. Don't overwhelm yourselves at the start. Don't be like, no, this is my goal. I want to achieve this, blah, 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 blah. If you overwhelm yourself immediately, then when you fall short of that, you'll be discouraged, and then you'll just fall back into that same habit that you've fallen back in before. Ultimately, what we're trying to do here is to create new habits and new pathways so you don't fall back down the same route that you were in before. So if this is you and you've been a wee bit inconsistent with your training and you're wondering why you're inconsistent with your training and why you're not achieving what you want to achieve, break it down like that. Whatever you need to do, whatever you need to say to yourself, whatever you need to motivate the fuck out of yourself to get that ball rolling, do it. Get the ball rolling. Consistency, keep the ball rolling, and then we'll set performance based targets to help you climb that ladder. Okay, that's just in relation to that the last point that I never wrote down. Guys, 2025 has been the best year ever for BSE. It has literally been the best year ever. It has probably been the best year in my life also. I'm going to say that, and I'm going to say that for CB as well. This year has been absolutely incredible, and it's only going to get better, and I fucking love that. These are the fucking days, guys. These are the best days of our lives. Do not sleep on these days. These are the days where we're in our prime. These are the days where we're feeling fucking fit and healthy. These are the days where we're surrounded by our fucking mates every single time we walk into the gym. Guys, these are the days, and I am so fucking grateful. CB is so grateful. Jenny and Foxy, we are all very, very grateful to be able to share them with you guys on a daily basis. So 2025, thank you. 2026, cannot wait.